So we welcome you all here this afternoon. As we know, the gubernatorial campaign is not that far away. Bruce's wife may think differently. So we welcome you here this afternoon, and thank you for coming, and Bruce is going to enlighten us with some words of wisdom regarding the state of Illinois.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. It's an honor to be with you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Effingham has become my favorite city in the state as I've been traveling on the listening tour over the last 5 months. Jared and I have walked 20,000 Illinois miles the last 4.5 months, traveling the state from Rockford to Carbondale, from Quincy to Champaign. We've been all over the state meeting with business folks, farmers, healthcare professionals, educators, first responders, getting to know our state, asking questions, listening and learning about our challenges and our opportunities. And Effingham, my reception here has been extraordinary. You guys are what Illinois is all about. Your work ethic, your devotion, your passion, your faith, your commitment, it's extraordinary. I love coming here. And I've been here, 10 times so far, I think, and I'm going to come back many more times. I look forward to finding ways to help your community thrive, because when Effingham thrives, Illinois thrives. And I'm going to go to work for you. This is a big decision for me. I've decided, we have formally declared, exactly 2 weeks ago today, formally declared to run for governor. Big decision for me and my family. I'm not a politician. I've never run for office in my life. I didn't even run for student council in high school. So I mean, it's a big decision. In fact, we talked it over. I've got 6 kids. We talked it over at the dinner table, and we were debating, should I run or not? Our state's so messed up, can we fix it? And my youngest daughter says, Daddy, don't run for governor. I don't want you to go to jail. And I said, Katie, just because 4 out of 7 of our governors went to prison, that's just a low bar. In fact, that's why I want to run. I want to clean up that corruption in Springfield and take it on. So it's an honor for me to go take this challenge. I'm going to bring a businessman's principles and discipline to state government and see if I can, as a fresh perspective, drive some real results for you, for our citizens, for our taxpayers, for our homeowners, our school children around the state. I'm going to run for governor to accomplish 4 things. I have 4 goals for you, for all of us here as fellow citizens in Illinois. My first goal, my #1 priority, is to make Illinois the #1 state in America for economic growth and job creation. We, by far, #1. There's no reason we can't do it, especially with the good people like you have in Effingham, the work ethic, the devotion, the passion, the entrepreneurs, like here at John Boo's company. We can do it. And the only thing holding us back is bad politicians and bad politics in Springfield. We're hostile to business. We can become pro-business in the state, and we can boom as an economy. #2, my second goal is to make the Illinois state government in Springfield the most efficient, effective, transparent government, state government in America. Now, we have a long way to go. We're one of the worst run state governments in America today. Wasteful, things done in secret, side deals, self-dealing. We're terrible, but the governor can turn that around. The governor has the power to run that government, and I'm going to bring business discipline to it and really drive down the spending and the costs to drive real value for taxpayers and tax reductions in our state. That's my second goal. Third goal is I want the education system in Illinois to be the best in America. We deserve, our children, our young people, our returning veterans, they deserve the greatest education, school, and training systems that America can offer. We used to have among the best schools. We're in a deterioration mode for our schools today. Our schools are being underfunded. Our schools are not being held accountable. We don't have competition and innovation and choice. My wife and I are big passionate believers in vouchers and charter schools and competition and merit pay for teachers. We want school choice and quality to be a major driver for our future. And this includes community colleges, this includes vocational training and universities and preschool, the whole spectrum from P through 20. And then the 4th priority, and I believe this very passionately, I want to have term limits for every politician in Springfield. I'm running on term limits. Some people in Springfield think the governorship already has term limits. 1 term in office, 1 term in prison. No, those aren't the term limits anymore. I want 8 years for everybody and out. If I was had the honor to be your governor, I would fire myself in 8 years. And I want every politician, including Madigan and the whole crowd that's been there for decades, you're done. 8 years, public service, and you're out. No more of this career, making money on the side, all this self-dealing, but becoming very wealthy from your political power. No, you're there to serve the people. Serve the most is 8 years, and then you're out. So those are my 4 goals that I would like to accomplish for you, for all of our citizens here in Illinois. And I'm on a passionate mission to get that done. I'm running because I fundamentally don't believe that career politicians in Springfield can fix our problems. They're too entrenched. They're the special interest groups that make their money from government, the government union bosses and the trial lawyers and the special interest groups that make their money from the regulations and the taxpayers. They own Springfield and they control it and they run it for their own benefit. They control the Democratic Party almost completely. And unfortunately for us, they've bought and funded and worked for many Republicans in Springfield too. And they've kind of bought their loyalty. And it's a broken, corrupt system. It's the reason that our spending's out of control. It's the reason that our pensions are overly generous and bankrupt. And our system is just broken. Even the good news for us is even some Democrats have come to the realization that the system doesn't work. And that the overspending on our government union bosses and the pensions is sucking the money out of our schools, sucking the money out of our social safety net, and taking the money very much from small growth companies like John Booz so that they can't invest and thrive. And even Democrats are ready to take that on. As I've traveled the state, many have come up to me and said, Bruce, I love your message for jobs and education. I'm ready to pull the ballot box for a Republican for this first time in my life. Because our party is broken, the Democratic Party is broken, Springfield's broken. We need a fresh perspective like what you bring. I'm going to bring 6 things to this battle to take over Springfield that I've learned from business. My whole life I'm a businessman. Let me tell you just briefly about my background so you know who I am. I'm born and raised in Illinois. I grew up in Deerfield, up in Lake County, in the northeast corner of the state. My dad worked for Motorola. He was an electrical engineer. My mom was a nurse. She worked at Passmont Memorial Hospital. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. I'm half Swedish, half German. German Catholics were corn farmers here, and then they all scattered mostly around western Michigan. My mom's family came from Scandinavia in the late 1800s, and they were dairy folks. My grandfather taught me how to milk a cow, and he had dairy cows. And he also was a union factory worker. He made cottage cheese and butter in the Hawthorne Melody plant up in Whitewater, Wisconsin. He was my best buddy growing up. He taught me to hunt and fish. He got me into, guns and riding. I'm a big Harley rider, and he got me to loving the outdoors. I'm a big outdoorsman. But I got my values from my grandfather because he was all about hard work, and he was all about getting a good education, and he always was about giving back in the community. Even though he lived in a double-wide trailer, my grandparents didn't have much money, he would always find, when they passed the collection plate on Sunday morning, he would always find $3 or $4 to put in that collection plate, even when he didn't have $3 or $4. And he always said, Bruce, we got to give back to help those who are less fortunate. And I've taught that to my 6 kids. I've said, I'm very blessed in business. I didn't inherit any money, but I've made a lot. And I believe, as the Bible said, to whom much has been given, from whom as much is expected in return. So my wife and I have set up a foundation. We fund the Red Cross. We fund the YMCA. We fund charter schools. We fund health clinics. We fund libraries. We give back in a major way in our community, and I'm very proud of that fact. And my kids are very proud of that. And I told them, they're not going to inherit much because we're going to give it away to help our community. They make their own way, their own career in the world. But I got lucky. I worked my way through school. I was a paper boy. I flipped burgers. I parked cars. I was a bus boy and a waiter in school. Well, when I got out of school, I met 3 gentlemen who were starting a new venture capital firm in Chicago. Those of you who don't know venture capital, it's basically taking money and investing in young companies and helping them grow fast. And buying stock and being an owner in the company. And I was employee number 5 at the firm back in 1980 when I started. And for the last 32 years, we built that firm. I became a partner in 1983, and I became head of the firm in 1985, 86. And over the last 32 years, we built it into one of the most successful investment companies in the country. When we started, we had a $60 million fund that we invested in young companies, in 41 companies, many of which were in Illinois. Today, we raised our 10th fund, and that's a $3.3 billion fund. And I'm very proud of that success. We built dozens of firms, we created thousands of jobs, but what we really did was provide a terrific rate of return for our investors. And one of the things that I'm proudest of is our investors for the last 30 years have been state government employees, state workers here in Illinois, and in states around the nation, Wisconsin, Minnesota, New York. And our pension system, I know the state pensions in Illinois because I've worked for them for so long. The state pensions have been generating about 7 or 8% annual returns compounded over the last 30 years on average, something like 7%. My firm for more than 25 years, and this is in the public record so I can quote it, our firm for more than 25 years has generated 17.4% compound annual return after all our fees and charges, compounded for 25 years. A lot of money, great return, so our taxpayers didn't have to pay as much into the pensions, and so our government workers could get a better retirement. And I'm very proud of that fact. And I want to bring the lessons I learned from that business success into state government, run the government like a business where our citizens are our shareholders and our customers, and we deliver results and value for our citizens. I'm going to bring 6 things to bear. Business, and you know this here at a great company like John Boo's company, business is all about assembling great teams of talent and putting together talented people to get things done. I'm going to bring the most talented people from Illinois into the government from business to run the government for the benefit of the taxpayers and the citizens. No more just career bureaucrats. I want business leaders to come in and drive results, just like Mitch Daniels did over in Indiana to turn Indiana around. I've been studying with Mitch. I think he was the best governor in America for 8 years. He brought business leadership into that government, and I want to do the same thing here in Springfield. Secondly, in business, we learn about cost cutting and cost management. You guys do it in John Boo's every day. The politicians in Springfield, they know nothing about cost cutting and cost management. And you know what? I'm going to bring that discipline to it, and we're going to drive the costs and the spending down in government very aggressively. Third, what we've done for decades in business is contract negotiations. You guys do it in John Boo's with your suppliers and your vendors. In government, they kick that down to bureaucrats who don't care. They don't care what anything costs. Contract negotiations, most critical skills. I've been doing that for 30 years. And the most important contracts I've got to negotiate are with the government union bosses who are in there bribing the politicians to get bigger pay and more benefits through that government-funded taxpayer salaries. Well, I'm going to break that chain of conflict of interest, and I'm going to negotiate independently with those government union bosses and drive the costs of our government contracts down. Fourth is business recruiting. Number 1 job for any governor should be business recruiting to our state. Quinn and his predecessors, Edgar, I think, did an okay job as far as I know, but since then, it's been terrible. I will make that top priority. I know how to recruit businesses. I've done it for 30 years. I know how to make headquarter location decisions for companies. I've done it for 30 years. I will bring that talent and those relationships to bear on business recruiting. Fifth, education reform. We will drive education reform and take on the teachers union. No more tenure. No more cap on charter schools. No more teachers walking out on the kids. We're going to change the rules so the schools are for the children and the parents, not for the adults in the building. And then finally, and most importantly, in business, you guys do it every day. Business is about driving results and solving problems. Politicians are about laying off blame, avoiding blame, and kicking the can down the road. No more of that. I'm going to take responsibility. The buck stops here. I'm going to drive results, solve problems, and get the quality of life and the cost of living in Illinois so it's very attractive again. So it's an honor to be here with you today. I'm going to be living on the road in the coming weeks. You can follow us on Twitter. We have @BruceRauner if you're a Twitter follower. We also have a great website called joinbruce.com. It's got all our information and our events. We'll be living on the road. I rode in the Harley, the Motorcycle Freedom Rally, raising money for our fallen veterans, our fallen servicemen and women in the Middle East conflicts in Marseilles, Illinois, Saturday. We were Rockford yesterday. We were in Bloomington the day before. We're going to live on the road. Please follow us and reach out. You can send us emails, ask us questions. We're eager to get your feedback, your comments, your criticism. But it's an honor for me to go to work for you. I look forward to the fight. The election's going to be tough, but it's going to be a fun fight, and I look forward to it. Thanks for sharing your afternoon with me. I appreciate it. I think we have